Colorado has a leak, and it's our personal data pouring out, being collected by people who shouldn't have it. The feds approved the vaccine for young teenagers, so what's standing between them and the shots? Recall elections are a popular political weapon these days. There's a plan to rein them in. And the sound of a pandemic summer tries to make a comeback and finds not everyone is down with the sound this year. That's next. The state of Colorado sells our personal information, yours and mine. It's perfectly legal. But they can't sell it to just anyone to do anything with it. You know, when you register your car with the DMV, you'll often get deluged with those car warranty pitches in the mail. They know exactly what you bought when you bought it. That's not supposed to be happening. Now, Chris Vanderveen started getting that mail a week after he registered a vehicle. He started investigating. And now, tonight, we can tell you the state is investigating as well.
Let's recap. Dave registered this car, got these.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
I registered this car, got the same things.
Motor vehicle service notification.
Car warranty pitches. We asked the de facto head of the state's DMV,
how did I get this if everything's above board?
what the heck?
I think that's a good question.
And after he said that, he said this.
I will promise we will get back to you.
Which leads us to the day he got back to us.
We're saying we are going to be doing more.
More, which now includes an investigation of where drivers' personal information is going.
We need to do more to make sure we're protecting that information, that it's not getting and used in the wrong ways.
To better understand what's going on with DMV data, you must first understand who sits in the middle. A company known as Colorado Interactive, also known as NIC Colorado. It pays the state more than $500,000 a year to buy DMV records in bulk. It then resells that bulk data to 11 sub-vendors. The big and yet unanswered question, did any of those sub-vendors sell data that ended up in the hands of those car warranty companies?
If this information is coming from DMV data, that's not supposed to happen.
That is not supposed to happen. That would be violating the law.
A spokesperson for Colorado Interactive told us it would be inappropriate to comment about the state's investigation. Ferrandino told us he has no reason to believe Nick has done anything wrong here. Records we obtained suggest the state is focusing its efforts on a small number of sub-vendors, each of which has so far denied being the source.
Everyone's saying, no, it's not me, it's them.
Regardless, the fact remains not long after we registered our cars with the Colorado DMV, car warranty companies found both Dave and me. These are companies Attorney Joe Malley knows well.
Because I've been tracking these companies around the country myself. I know who they are, and they're working in Colorado right now getting your data. And they shouldn't be.
I called all three, looking for comment.
A representative will be with you momentarily.
Not one.
Do you know who can answer a couple of my questions?
Not one got back to me. A story the state now finds familiar.
We called them. We asked them, where did you get this information? They said it was from public information, not from the DMV. And they said they'd call us back to get us more information. Unfortunately, not shocking, they did not call us back.
Ferrandino says finding the possible leak is a priority for his office.
Well, that's encouraging. I hope they do.
Dave's also pleased to know the state attorney general is now assisting in the investigation.
I did not know that.
An investigation that started simply because he bought a used car. For next, this is Chris Vanderveen.
So Colorado is considering doing what Texas did, which is really just a scaled-up version of Chris Vanderveen's own test, trying to pinpoint where it is that our data are being given to those direct sales outfits. Colorado Springs police today, for the first time, publicly identified the 6 people killed at a birthday party at the mobile home park early Saturday morning. They were Sandra Ibarra Perez, Jose Ibarra, Mayra Ibarra de Perez, Melvin Perez, Jose Gutierrez, and Joanna Cruz. Police say the suspected shooter appears to be the boyfriend of one of the women killed. He was not invited to that family party. They had had a previous conflict, and the family said that he had been abusive and controlling to his girlfriend in the past. Colorado Springs Mayor John Suthers today called that mass shooting a reminder of domestic violence's widespread danger.
About 20 to 25% of the victims of homicides related to domestic violence are not the people involved in the relationship, but are either police officers that respond, are family members or bystanders. In Colorado, we've had domestic terrorism incidents where lots of people were killed. We've had random acts like going into a King Soopers or a movie theater, but let's not forget about the lethality of domestic violence.
The shooting suspect who killed himself did not have a criminal history. The gun he used was not legally his, police said. They're trying to figure out how he got it. Turning to the state of COVID in our state, 37.7% of our state population has now completed the vaccine process. We tick up a touch each day, a bit more than 2.2 million people vaccinated now. You got more than another 500,000 waiting on their second dose, well on their way. And we've scaled down the gray portion. It's now the 15% of the state population, 12 and under, too young to get the vaccine. Speaking of, tonight's next question comes from Megan. She says her 15-year-old daughter, Emma, is eager to get the COVID vaccine now that the FDA has expanded emergency use authorization for Pfizer's vaccine. It's for young people ages 12 to 15. But when exactly can Emma and those other young teenagers actually get the shot in Colorado? Megan, the state says that vaccinations for those younger teenagers could start as early as Thursday, but most likely it will be this weekend. Providers that we talked to said what they're actually waiting on is for the CDC to formally recommend that the age group gets the vaccine before they start doing the doses. CDC meets tomorrow on that step. Some providers, including Children's Hospital Colorado, are allowing parents to pre-register their kids 12 to 15 years old right now, and then they'll be assigned a vaccination appointment once the CDC gives that go-ahead. Hey, we are seeing an encouraging drop in hospitalizations right now. 631 COVID patients in Colorado's hospitals were down almost 24 in a day. Our positivity rate is trending back down over time, though we did see a single one-day jump yesterday to 6.8%. You look at that 7-day average to smooth it out, it's just over 5% now after being up over 6% to start May. If stalemates were soulmates, well, then Westminster City Council members would be made for each other. But they are not made for each other, and that led to a 78-round face-off last night where Westminster City Council could not break a tie on who should be their next deputy mayor. I fell asleep before Liam Adams, the excellent reporter from Colorado Community Media, had the final result posted to social media. It was well after midnight. Westminster is in this mess because the mayor resigned while facing a recall, and another council member is up against another recall in July. Recalls have become quite the popular tool in Colorado politics lately. Our Marshall Zellinger's along now to explain how some state legislators, Marshall, want to slow that roll.
Ever since Democratic State Representative Tom Sullivan fended off a recall in 2019, Kyle, Democratic lawmakers have wanted to tighten the rules on recalls. We told you about the 80-page election reform bill recently introduced. It includes changes to recalls. A lot of it, though, has to do with petitions and the collection of signatures. One new provision, for example, if you try to recall someone and fail and want to do it again in that same term for that person, you need to collect even more signatures the second time around, and none of them are allowed to be the persons who signed the first time. The old rules still apply in Westminster, where former Mayor Herb Atchison was facing a recall election but resigned last week, citing advice from his doctor. Another member of Westminster City Council, John Voles, faces a recall election set for July. In the last 2 years, there have been recall attempts of local political leaders in Fort Morgan, Estes Park, Pitkin, Brighton, Elizabeth, Nederland, Wiggins, Idaho Springs, Ordway, Larkspur, and Westminster.
If you're going to recall somebody and not wait for a scheduled election, have a good reason other than you're just mad about the way they voted on a single vote. If they've done something wrong, that's the time to do it.
Atchison was facing a recall for his vote to increase water rates in 2018 and his failure to support lower rates. Voles wasn't on city council in 2018, but enough signatures were collected to put his name on the recall election for failure to support lower water rates. We've seen strategic recalls in the past. In 2013, 2 Democratic state senators were recalled over gun legislation. They were replaced with Republicans. Then Democratic Senator Evie Hudak faced a recall effort, and if her seat flipped, Republicans would have taken control of the Senate.
They were recalling me not because of bills I carried. They were recalling me because my reelection the year before was very close, and they felt that they might be able to overcome the 384 votes that I won by.
Hudak resigned before the signatures could be turned in, and by resigning, a Democratic vacancy committee picked her replacement, and the Democrats held on to the Senate for the rest of that year. In Westminster, of course, it's more confusing. Because the mayor resigned, the deputy mayor took his spot, leaving her council seat open, and now it's the city council that gets to pick her replacement within 30 days, and based on what we saw last night, or at least what Liam saw last night, that will take at least 78 votes, and if they don't pick within 30 days, a special election will be held to fill her seat.
Recalls are like anything else in politics. If it works, people will do it, irrespective of ideology. Marshall, thank you.
When liberals take public stands that don't really affect anything, it's called virtue signaling. So what's it called when Republican commissioners do the same thing? There's a chance that what was proclaimed today will just lead to confusion. And what to do with our pandemic summer traditions.
To have your own front yard become a stage, it's not something I ever anticipated happening.
Rico's Concerts delighted a neighborhood. Season 2 is less certain. What to keep from our odd year and what to leave behind. Next.
Most of the Denver metro area is going clear, all clear this weekend. Level clear on the COVID dial for Jeffco, Arapahoe, Adams County. Denver's likely to follow. So that will mean the end of capacity caps at restaurants and gyms. Mask requirements will stay in place, though. 2 of Douglas County's 3 Republican commissioners passed a fairly symbolic resolution against mask mandates today. Republican Commissioner Laura Thomas was the no vote. She pointed out the obvious, that while anti-mask votes might be popular in Douglas County, it's the state that is in the business of coming in and punishing businesses for ignoring those mask rules.
The governor has an order in place that requires masks unless 80% of the people present inside are vaccinated. We even had outside counsel come in and help to try and find a way to get around the state mandates. And we have been told for 15 months that there is no way to override a governor public health order. I do not believe that it is good government for us to attempt to tell our citizens that they do not need to follow a governor order.
A number of folks in public health and in politics have pointed out that Douglas County's new masks optional stance is likely to create confusion if citizens don't realize that the county's resolution is superseded by the state rule.
Have you had it with 3 days of gray, cold, wet weather with rain and snow showers? Well, this storm is on its way out tonight. But with clearing skies tonight, temperatures are going to drop like a rock. All the advisories for snow will be canceled out. But with temperatures down below freezing for many areas, we will need to cover and protect those plants. 33 in Denver, 20s in the high country tonight. But a beautiful warm up tomorrow and a beautiful day coming after the rain and snow move out. We've got a little fog in the morning and then sunshine and 62. We get into the 70s for Thursday and Friday. Thunderstorms are back in the weekend forecast, but no snow in the extended outlook. And for some areas, we'll see temperatures close to 80 by Saturday.
The most Colorado thing we saw today are the lengths people are going to save signs of spring from the snow. Mad Rush was on yesterday to bring plants inside before the freezing temperatures and the snow hit. Our viewer Noah has all his outdoor plants light up inside his home in Centennial. That is how millennials live every day. Steve busted out his special tulip tent to protect the flowers out front. My gardens, I gave up. I cut all of my tulips for Mother's Day, and my wife loved it.
His front lawn concerts were the hit of the summer. Then they got slammed.
We want to keep everybody happy, and we don't want to be a disturbance to anybody in the community.
A debate about what to keep from our strange pandemic summer. That's next.
Normalcy was currency during the worst of the pandemic. It was pure gold to feel like things were as they had been. Rico Jones and his friends freely gave it out from his parents' front yard. They played music, community concerts through last summer. It was a chance for people living near Sloan's Lake to gather and be together while safely apart. And it made Rico beloved by almost everyone in that neighborhood. Almost everyone. Our Byron Reed has the story.
easiest way for me to describe the feeling I get is passion. Hi, my name is Rico Jones. I'm a tenor saxophonist. I'm 23 years old and I've been playing for 11 years. You know, it'd been a couple months since the pandemic had started. I'd left school in New York and I'd been cooped up home with my family. And my brother had suggested, hey, why don't you go play on the front yard and invite some friends over. All across here in the park, there would be people sitting out, picnicking. This was Friday through Sunday, 6 to 8:30 p.m. And after some time, people started to notice the music and they would stop by.
Jane Parker Ambrose. I'm the president of Sloan's Lake Neighborhood Association. It was an opportunity for people to get away from COVID, something to do. We were all on lockdown. It was the year from hell.
People really received, you know, a great deal of joy from being able to be outside and be around family. So far this summer, you know, we had just finished our first weekend of concerts. And unfortunately, we received one complaint from a neighbor a couple blocks away. They contacted City Council. Just to mediate the whole situation, we decided to cancel for now until we come to some sort of agreement.
The two council women are going to try to mediate this.
We want to keep everybody happy, and we don't want to be a disturbance to anybody in the community.
I'm hoping that everything will be resolved and both sides will be happy with what they decide.
It really is heartbreaking. I mean, there's nothing I love more in life than getting to play music, and what makes it all worth it is getting to see the joy that it brings people.
Rico says he's hoping to hear back from those Denver City Council mediators in the next couple of weeks. If he gets the okay, he'll restart his summer Lakeside concert series. Snow in May meant that people had the opportunity to take the Christmas photos that they missed out on during the pandemic. Quite serious about it. This is actually a very sweet story, and it's next. I think there are going to be a lot of Zoom and FaceTime screenshots tucked into our family photo albums from 2020. One of your recent reunion photos reminded us of one of the moments that a lot of us missed. Jessica sent us photos taken with her mom during yesterday's snowstorm. She says these were the photos they were supposed to take last Christmas. Her parents flew in last weekend from North Carolina for Mother's Day. It was the first time they've gotten to see the grandkids since December of 2019. And since it snowed, you know, they figured it was the perfect time to recreate the Christmas photos that they missed. I love that. That is so sweet. Jessica also passed along her thanks to Science and Vaccines for making those pictures possible. Ron writes in tonight with thanks for our reporting on the DMV data leaks, and he says, is it time for a citizen ballot initiative to outlaw the DMV from selling our data? I don't know. You tell me, citizen. Christina says, we cannot shame individuals who are in domestic violence situations for speaking up. We need to retrain our way of thinking and remember that when folks got into that type of relationship, it is not what they were looking for. Amen to that, Christina. See you next time.